Hello, it's Miss Julia again. I have another story I'm going to read to you guys today. This one is about a cat named Catundra. This was a favorite of my brother's, and in fact, he named his orange cat Catundra. I hope that you guys enjoy it as much as we did. Catundra, written by Stephen Cosgrove, illustrated by Robin James. In a perfect part of the forest, in a land of fur, purrs, and meows, stood an old dilapidated cabin that no one had lived in for a long, long time. The cabin was in such poor shape that none of the creatures of the forest would live there. None, that is, except for a ragtag, fat cat called Catundra. She lived there because it was the only place where she could hide from the other animals who would laugh and call her names. Catundra, you see, had always been just a little bit plump. You could, in fact, call her downright fat. From dawn until dusk, whenever the other creatures of the forest would pass the old cabin, they would shout out and call her names. Catundra is a fatty, neener, neener, neeners. Or sometime they'd jeer, "We'd better run away because fat Catundra might waddle over here and sit on us." Then, after chanting their nasty remarks, they would run into the forest amidst gales of laughter. Poor Catundra would feel so bad after their name-calling that she felt she just had to do something to forget what they had said, and so she would eat more and more. Every time she ate some more, she got just a little fatter, which made her feel worse, and so she ate some more. Every day it was the same thing over and over until Catundra became so fat that she could barely walk at all. Then one day it happened that she could find nothing to eat. She looked in her favorite spot for catching mice, but they were all gone. She waddled over to the creek, but the fish were all gone. "Oh, what am I to do?" she cried. "I'm hungry and I'm miserable. If I weren't so miserable, I wouldn't be so hungry." It was then that Catundra noticed, right in front of her nose, a pile of dirt that seemed to be moving. She watched with her head cocked to one side as that lump of dirt shrugged once and sneezed twice, revealing a small pathetic-looking mole. The mole slowly shook dirt from his ears, rubbed the dust from his eyes, and carefully looked around. "That's odd," he said. "The sky is clear, but I'm standing in a shadow. He turned around to see what was causing the shadow, and sure enough, there was a very hungry-looking Catundra. With an "Oops!" and an "Excuse me!" he made a dash back to his burrow. He had just got his head back into the hole when, with one slow movement of her paw, Catundra trapped that poor mole by his tail. With a tear in her eye, Catundra carefully picked up the mole and waddled back to the cabin to enjoy her melancholy meal. "Are you going to eat me?" asked the mole. "Yes," sobbed Catundra. The mole thought for a moment and then asked, "Why me? I'm barely a mouthful. My fur is all full of rocks, and I probably taste like dirt. Surely there is something you would rather eat than me." "I'm going to eat you," sobbed Catundra. "Not because you are good to eat, but because there isn't anything else to eat, and I have to eat because I feel so miserable." "Now wait a minute," said the mole indignantly as he was dropped with a plop. "Why do you feel so miserable?" Catundra decided to tell him the whole story of how she got just a little fat as a kitten, and how all the other cats laughed and made fun of her. She went on telling how she had run away to this cabin and had no sooner arrived than all of the other creatures of the forest began making fun of her too. "So you see, little mole, the only thing that makes me happy is to eat." It was at that moment that the mole came up with a super plan. "Cat," he said, "you're going about this all wrong. Rather than eating, you should go on a diet and get yourself in shape. If you're not fat, then nobody can make fun of you, and if they don't make fun of you, you won't be miserable, and if you're not miserable, you won't want to eat." Catundra looked at the mole and thought and thought. Maybe, little mole, you are right, but you will help me, and if you are wrong, I can always eat you later. So beginning that very day, Catundra started to exercise with the little mole. He would have her jog just a little way, and then stop and let her rest. Then, when she had caught her breath and rested well, he would have her run some more, always telling her how slim and beautiful she would be. Catundra had been exercising for days and days, and slowly but surely she was losing weight. Once in a while, one of the creatures of the forest would stop and tease her, but the little mole would run him off and remind Catundra that soon there would be nothing to tease her about. Once in a while, Catundra would get that hungry look in her eye, but the little mole would wisely let her eat some fresh vegetables. Once he even let her catch a small minnow from the stream, just to keep up her strength. By now Catundra had lost so much weight that the little mole had to hang on to her neck as she raced furiously about the cabin. She would run up a tree just as high and as fast as she could, and then turn and dash merrily back down again. She could jump higher than she had ever been able to jump before, and the most surprising thing was that she wasn't sad or melancholy anymore. Most importantly, the other creatures of the forest didn't call her names because she had slimmed down to the prettiest cat they had ever seen. And it came to be that on any beautiful summer morning you could find Catundra basking in the sunshine, with the little mole fast asleep, leaning on her knee. So, if you're fat and overweight and feeling oh so blue, remember that little ragtag mole and what he had Catundra do.